James Argent has opened up about his past drug struggles, explaining he once woke up covered in blood in a cocaine-fueled daze as he hit his lowest point. The 35-year-old former The Only Way Is Essex star has turned his life around in recent years after his addiction to drugs ruined his relationships and threatened to completely derail his life. In the past, James has revealed he suffered two near-death experiences as he overdosed on narcotics while at home. And he also struggled with his weight as he would lock himself in his house and binge eat between drug and booze-fueled sessions. Now Ard has looked back on his troubled past again, explaining that he once woke up in a daze at the bottom of the stairs at his £1.3 million home covered in blood. Speaking to the Cabin Recovery podcast, the reality star said, "I remember waking up at the bottom of my staircase, with blood pouring down my face, like where am I? What am I doing? Screaming for help, but there was nobody around. I was in such a bad physical condition that I couldn't really stand up. I hadn't eaten for days on end." James admitted this was the moment he realized he had hit rock bottom. He combined, "Over 2 years ago, it got that bad when I was literally I was picking up and I was continually picking up and using, and I didn't have a wink of sleep for 4 days straight. In my house, doors locked, barricading myself in my room, ultimate paranoia and psychosis. I used to think that the walls in my house were caving in." He added, "I'll be honest with you, I've never really told anyone this, but for days I'd be holding my head like this in my room, crying and screaming, thinking the ceilings were going to cave in on me." James, who starred on Towie between 2010 and 2018, added he hid his addiction by taking drugs at home alone. Back in 2020, James explained that police broke into his home when then-girlfriend Gemma Collins raised the alarm after she couldn't reach him, and they found him in the grips of his addiction. He explained all during an appearance on This Morning, saying, "The first incident happened around the end of October. I was the biggest I'd ever been. I was 23.5 stone, I hated everything about myself. I was at an all-time low. Around that period, I was using drugs for 2 or 3 days straight in my house. I'd locked myself in my house, the house was pitch black. I'd bolted all my doors, I turned my phone off. People tried to call me for days, they were slamming on the door and screaming to open up, I wouldn't. Gemma felt the need to call the ambulance, and the ambulance, alongside the police, put the door through and they did tests and they sat with me for a good few hours and they decided that I could have been left, that I was okay to be at home. I said to myself, oh my God, police are outside, ambulance, paparazzi. I was absolutely freaking out." Arg went on, "When I use, it's never rock and roll. It's always extremely lonely, isolated, me having awful paranoia, psychosis, shivering, shaking, blood coming down my nose. I'm sweating, it's just a horrific place to be in. I said after that I'll never use again. 2 days later, I'm using again because it's just crazy." On reaching his lowest, he said, "Up until Christmas, I was deep in addiction and I'd completely lost hope and I gave up. Christmas Eve I was using from the evening until the early hours, I was tossing and turning in bed. I woke up. There was no giving presents, receiving parents, no Christmas songs on the radio and there was nothing in the fridge, nothing in the cupboards and I remember going on a delivery app and the only thing I could order was a kebab. That was the all-time rock bottom. I spent Christmas Day by myself, indoors, feeling ill and horrific and alone. The reality star was convinced by friends, including former TOWIE stars Mark and Elliot Wright, to seek help, and he checked into rehab and has since turned his life around. Frank offers confidential advice about drugs and addiction. Email frank@talktofrank.com, message 82111 or call 0300-123-6600, or the NHS has information about getting help. Follow Mirror Celebs on Snapchat, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube and Threads.